G'day, punters. Welcome back to another edition of the Mailbag Preview Show. Welcome again, Lindsay, after a very good first up effort. And Shane. Welcome, gents.
Hey, mate. How are you?
We've got you for the full show today, Shane.
Just, mate. I was just at the funeral parlour yesterday, just getting measured up. I've had man flu all week.
The dreaded man flu.
And so I've just been making a few arrangements. Coffins are expensive. Decided to get burnt instead.
Just as expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. But, I'm looking for a do-it-yourself kit from Bunnings, actually. I'm starting to feel a smidgen better, but I need to.
Good to have you. Good to have you, Lindsay. All right, we'll get into today's show, guys. First off, brought to you by the Mailbag Bloodstock. We'll just go through a few horses that we've got for sale. The Maurice Colt and also Boss Queen, who we mentioned on last week's show, had small shares left, but they've been sold. So thank you to those who are joining us on the ride. I think you'll have a bit of fun with both of those. I think we mentioned Atlantic Way last week with Gavin Bedgood, who is airborne at the moment. We've still got a few shares left in that. 2.5% shares, only 362, so not going to cost you much. You definitely have a bit of fun with that. Also,
and getting into Victoria's hottest stable, he's like
absolutely
above 20%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, had a winner yesterday too. Global Gift, Jake Offerman in the midweek. So.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive because they're not just winning, but they're carrying jockeys you wouldn't back. That's how good they go.
And no efforts is the thing that curled up last Saturday. How was that?
The $1 chance.
Yeah,
it's about the in-play punters. So,
and Jack yesterday he purchased another purchase off English Digital, a horse called Yulong Defence, and we're sending that up to Curly's territory up there in Queensland. So I think we're sending it to Tony Gollan. Is that correct, Shane?
Yeah, Tony Gollan's going to train him. He's a metropolitan horse in Queensland. So he's got to go to, Queensland's leading metropolitan trainer, of course. This horse ran second in the boat last preparation, which we know has, gone on to win the time-honoured Country Discovery worth $500,000 amongst, some other listed wins there along the way. This bloke was, ran second to him. He's a sort of position up midfield, 1,100 metre horse. You'd be able to sit off these hot Queensland tempos, and I think he's a terrific value purchase here. And one win and you win your purchase price back. So I think he's a great buy. Jack's done a really good job getting hold of this horse for what he's paid for it.
And I believe Tony was keen to get him into his stable.
Yeah, he had a look at the form and said, "How long's that off? Get it straight into work." Basically, we're coming into the off season of racing in Queensland. So for the next 3 months, the Metropolitan standard of race, or probably next 4 months, the Metropolitan standard of racing is low.
And that's always good if you're buying into a horse. Nothing worse than waiting around a year or two if you've got a yearling, weanling sort of thing. So promising signs if Tony wants to get that one straight back into work and pick up some of that prize money over that winter period. So look, we're just working on the PDS at the moment. So if you do want to get involved, as always, email Jono at the Mailbag. So that's there for Atlantic Way with Gavin Bedgood. Nice little cheap one that you'll definitely have a bit of fun with, and one for Curly's territory. And any of our Queensland followers that want to get involved, Jono at themailbag.com.au. All right, we'll move on to the racing. We're going to preview 9 of the best at headquarters there, Flemington Championships Day. Lindsay's got a few races we want to go through. And Shane's got one to preview for us up on the Sunshine Coast. So we'll go to Flemington Race 2, the Mailbag Bloodstock 2-year-olds over 1,200. Takes away, Lindsay.
All right, sweet. Thanks, James. There's a few horses here to highlight, a few progressive ones. I think we have, a number of last start winners here. Chasen, very good on debut. It's led the fence there on a day that was good to lead the fence. Gapped them following some good jump outs at Pakenham. I was saying last night to Jack Dickens, I had a short conversation with him about how all the different jump out forms kind of intertwining here. They're coming up against each other. So you got some jump out form from Pakenham that comes together. You got the Flemington form, the Cranbourne form, and then basically everywhere else apart from that. You can see Chesterton there on debut, led the fence under a bit of pressure. I think cracked with a whip a couple of times, but drew away well there from Michelotti, who it lines up against again here on Saturday. Chesterton goes from heavy 10 to dry. I'm expecting the track to be soft 5, good 4, with the help of Jackson Oldham. Our weatherman for Melbourne, he normally calls the shots each week, and he's normally pretty right. So I'm against Chesterton there. I'd say it's the most likely from Bone, who's on the week backup from last week, beating all impressive Billy Gennardi, who was impressive at Flemington on debut. And then last week was on the fence about the 100 to the 50 mark. Second crack with a whip from Preble. Veered out and Thronbone was there pouncing late. I'm against the setup though. The week backup's good. For 2-year-olds, it's a bit questionable, but the market will like it, I think. Down the straight first time, I have to oppose though. So I've landed on two horses here, 2-bet play, the 10 and the 11. Number 10, Discerning, comes through a race on the Pakenham Synthetic. Not ideal form coming to town, but it's run good time there. They went out quick, came home quick, still had good turn of foot at the end, which is you need down the straight. They might sit up here, and it might be advantageous to have the best turn of foot in the race. I'm not saying it does, but it does have great turn of foot to get over them here. It's run the second fastest 4-2 of the meeting at that Pakenham Synthetic meeting we can see on screen now, and the third fastest 2 to the post. And it's beaten Tanto, who has intertwining form around Gennardi from a race on the heavy. I think it was a midweek or maybe on a Thursday. But it's got intertwining form there, and I think it's a good enough price to play. I think it's at 13s at the moment. I'm happy to chime in there. And also this first starter here, Danny O'Brien, Without Envy. It's trialled on 2 occasions. First had the measure of Zoo Sensation at Werribee. It was wide on the track there. Came home. Yeah, we're seeing the replay now. So it travels up wide on the track. Gets let go in the straight. Zoo Sensation's on the inside, getting the suck run behind the leaders. And Zoo Sensation was under pressure late. Without Envy, wide on the track. Langton's well, and kind of it's brought back in at the end, and I think it was holding it on the line. Zoo Sensation then went to Adelaide, didn't run much time, but it's beaten Crosswinds, who has good Flemington jump out form too. Then Without Envy, its latest jump out was travelling behind ASAR. It was a tearaway leader, did win the heat well, but Without Envy was alongside Covert, who's got decent form. And I think there was another horse in behind, Love Planet, it may have been as well. And that's good enough form to have a play here. I think they went up 13s, green corporate. It's now 11 best of the corporates. So I'm happy to play there. Just a small play at the odds, Discerning and Without Envy.
Make a good case. Definitely small play at the odds there. Thanks, Lindsay. So we'll move on to race 4, the puntingform.com.au 2-year-olds over 1,600.
Yeah, here we go. 2-year-old mile race. Most people hate these, but I love them. This is my kind of wheelhouse. So again, here there's 2 horses I want to play in a very, very, very open race. The lead up at Flemington, the main lead up, was where Grinzinger Bishop was a blowout at 100 down the outside. I think there's 2 horses we can back here. Trans Am will get a suck run. It's the only horse in the field to have a mile lead up into this. As a 2-year-old, I think that means a lot. And it was on a heavy 8. Comes back to the dry on the weekend. Loses Dry Me Neil, gets Zach Spain. But I think 60. I think the last price I saw quoted was 60.
Yeah, I think 60 still out there.
Yeah, I think that's good enough price to play 1x4. I think it comes through that affordable. Was a good debut run. It's good form out of its debut. there at Geelong. And then the other one I was keen to play there was Fairy Spirit. John Sadler, Blinker's first time. I did have a $10 SP through that Flemington race at Grinzinger Bishop won. It's kind of an odd race. Most of them come through it, and a different form could be key. But I think Fairy Spirit jumped out very, very well before that debut. Hence that $10 SP. Had the better of Chasserton, who goes around favourite in the first, or near the second favourite at Thrombone, which is good form. And Fairy Spirit here, you can see it on the replay back in the field. Matt Cartwright is it's a weak kind of riding ride, but I think Blinker's first time, it can improve lengths, especially John Sadler, Blinker's first time. And I'm just happy to play at 20s to 30s, 1x3, 1x4. So Fairy Spirit, Trans Am each way.
And any of the favourites or any of the top of the market there, you feel are the danger?
So King's Consort, I'd say is the most likely. Grinzinger Bishop is actually a backable price as well if you wanted to chop or play that way too. But King's Consort, it's got the form. That Twin Stars form's okay because it's gone up to our neck of the woods, curls up here, and it's run okay in a listed race and in the JJ, I think, behind Johnny Rocker. That comes through that Johnny Rocker form line, I think.
Yeah, and Ready the JJ got beat 3 lengths behind. She's a belter.
Yeah, I think that's good enough form to be winning this 100%. That's why it's in the market, obviously. And then Grinzinger Bishop, of course, last start through that same form line at Flemington where it's won, came down the outside well, but I'm just happy to oppose at the price. It's just an odd race, and I think someone can improve lengths, especially 2-year-olds, getting up and trip to the mile. But most of these, they'll stop like shot, probably at the furlong. Quang Try also has that. It's beaten King's Consort last start at Swan Hill. That could be the form line going into this. And also just got beaten by that Bankmer, who also went up to Queensland, and I think SP'd favourite or opened favourite at least in a listed race up there, that Johnny Rocker race too. The Morris, I think it's at Morris for Lambing. Yeah. So I'm happy to just oppose at the price. Made shop Grinzinger Bishop, but I'm happy to oppose and have 1x4 plays there. Trans Am and Fairy Spirit.
Nice, couple of 1x3, 1x4 plays there. Trans Am currently 60s, and Fairy Spirit, I think you can get $26. So a couple of odds there from Lindsay. And the last one that we will preview from headquarters is race 7, the Santa Ana Lane final, the 1,200-metre listed race, which has put together a pretty good field this year.
Pretty good field. I find this race pretty easy. It's an easy bet to have here. So Ashford Street's come up favourite. I don't think it'll run 1,200 metres, so I'm putting the pen through it. It runs this preparation. Its last 3 have been 1,000-metre Starry Legend form around a bend, and now it's got to come to Flemington 1,200 metres down the straight, dry track. I'm happy to oppose. Easily happy to oppose. I think the Savitu XL, it's good quiet jump out between runs, but I think I'm happy to oppose too. 60 kilos down the straight. It'll be up on speed. Ciurleo Splendor probably won't get a 12, so Savitu XL will be there. But with the 60 kilos, I'm just hoping it can't accelerate like the others. I think everything else is on 54. Yeah, so it's the only one. So it's given the field, 6.5. And I think it just won't be able to accelerate with them, I don't think, especially when you have the horse I'm wanting to back, Serious Suspect, just sitting off it there. And I think Serious Suspect has the figures down the straight. It's a track and trip horse. Gets down in the weights. It was a massive run last start at Swan Hill against that Triple Missile, who they think's a group horse. Ocean Beyond was also there running home down the outside. And Curran came down the outside too. Yeah, we're seeing the replay here now. So it's back on the inside there in the fluoro. And then Curran comes down the outside with the eventual winner, Triple Missile. And I think that was the best part of the track that day. And Serious Suspects held on well there on the inside. Gets to its, track and trip here. It's ideal setup down the ways 54. Ethan Brown will just camp off the speed up front, which will be hot with Sartorial Splendor Ashford Street up there as well. 7-2XL, Zach the Boss. And I think he can get over them late. Ocean Beyond also comes through that replay. Meech sat very, very, very quiet on it on the corner, and I don't think that's its go. He wants to be rolling along, and they will roll along here. And I think Ocean Beyond's more suited, so I'm leaning serious suspect. The bet, chop Ocean Beyond. Zach the Boss is a progressive one, but I just don't think it's up to these. I want to see it first before it's a betting proposition.
Linda Meech's Flemington stats don't give you much hope there, sort of backing her at Flemington, do they? So just chopping out on Ocean Beyond?
Yeah, it's chopping out Ocean Beyond. It did beat serious suspects. A couple, I think it was 2-3 back at Flemington that day. Yeah, just happy to oppose. I think she's a negative 40. What have we got here? Negative 44.7% pot at Flemington. Jay Fry actually sitting on top there with 22.6% pot. So maybe one to look forward to. I think he rides 2 volley later in the day. But yeah, just against Linda Meech there on the weekend with those stats. And
not ideal for my best bet, which you'll hear later, which Linda is on board. So that's always scary.
Interesting.
Rightio. So just a medium-sized bet there, serious suspect at the price. We're about $859 and chopping out Ocean Beyond there, Lindsay.
Yep, that's the play.
Perfect. That's good. We'll recap all Lindsay's plays at the end of the show, but they're the 3 races that we're previewing at headquarters. We'll throw over to Shane, who wants to preview Sunshine Coast Race 8, the Glass House Handicap.
The difference between want to and have to, James.
Yes.
But here we are, the Glass House Handicap, the last of the listed races for the Winter Carnival. God bless that it's nearly over. So have a look at the speed map here. It's good a place to start. The horse I've highlighted here is number 3, Holyfield. I think he just gets the best map, rode it like the best horse in the race. Last start in the eyeliner, it's like 3 wide pushing forward to sit sort of 3/4 of length outside the leader and stay off the fence. Finds the best map again. This is like a race that's like big in numbers but long in tail. There's a lot of speed humps here, so I'm sort of focusing on those horses that are going to be sort of making their own luck a little bit here and sort of on speed and out of trouble. A number of different form lines that clash here. We've got we've got a last start replay, I think, that Holyfield was the winner here at Ipswich. Holyfield and Desert Lord both come out of this race. You'll see Holyfield in the pink cap there and then Annabelle Neesham colours is staying away from the inside, which I thought was inferior ground on the day. So did Brodie Loy. Well, look at that ride. And you'll see the flashing light runner here, Desert Lord, coming down the middle part of the track, which is probably best part as Holyfield sort of drifted in towards the inferior part of the track late. And that's Desert Lord there, flashing down the outside to just get over Sir Warwick into second spot. Nothing on the data from Desert Lord. Like, to the eye was visually, looked impressive, but on the data it wasn't like unreal on the day or anything like that. I thought the way that the race was run and looking at the punting form data that, certainly Holyfield was there to get run down. The question now will be, goes up 3 kilos, 2.5 kilos in weight, and what difference that makes. It certainly is going to get map favours here. Like I said, I think it's going to sort of land in that sort of first 4 or 5 with cover. Anticipating by this stage of the day, they'll be getting out to the centre of the track. So the gate allows Brodie to stay off the fence in the running line and get to that part of the track. For those that don't subscribe, I think Jackson's a platinum subscriber to janebunweather.com.au. I might have to get the forecast because it doesn't look great. It looks like it's going to be a wet track, and that will determine my betting on Saturday for sure. There's some horses that are going to be better suited to rain-affected going than others. We've got some horses that like wet tracks that have been running during the carnival at Eagle Farm. Obviously a really dry surface, and they're going to come back and find themselves on a wet track here at the Sunny Coast. A different type of wet track too at the Sunshine Coast. It's when it gets heavy, it gets genuinely sort of heavy track, not just sloppy. So it's different climate, different sort of soil types, without getting too technical. But there is a pronounced crown of the track. So you want to be on the highest points, the driest points. So the wetter it gets, the more that will come into play. So there's a ton of variables coming into this race. Weather's going to have a big factor, a big part to play in that. Holyfield, anything up to a slow track, I think is fine. I thought the way it was ridden to win, that the 2.5 kilo increase doesn't rule it out. I think $6.50 is a pretty safe each way play if you wanted to have to bet early, and thinking it could get no worse than a slow. It's a good chance for sure. There's nothing really in the market though that I've got unders. I've sort of rated Holyfield around that price. I've got Desert Lord a lot longer price. Never really done a lot to me, Desert Lord. The only thing you can safely do is pen anything that finished behind Holyfield and Desert Lord out of the eye line at the last start. Nothing that got beat that day will beat them home here. So if you're looking for a different form line, one that the data really likes is Majestic Shot, the 16. It was really, really strong on the sectionals on the way home last time. Obviously it did go slower, was a bit slower run race for the class of 1,200 metres on the day. But it did rattle home and run some really good sectionals. It has had a go at 1,400 this preparation, and that was at Scone where it led, which was outside of its pattern. It was still there at the 100, its last 100. It staggered a little bit. I've given this a 4-length penalty from going from Jimmy Orman to Corey Bayliss, and it's still one of the only couple of horses that I've got marked shorter than market. I thought it was, a little bit shorter than sort of $16 available at some places, $14 available at some places. It'll get a cozier run. I certainly wouldn't anticipate they'll be wanting to lead this time at 1,400. Handles soft going. I think it could, be an improver. A lot of these, Waller numbers take up a fair bit of the market here, as well as Desert Lord, which I don't like. So sort of working around 3 and maybe 16 at a price. But again, it's going to be weather dependent. The forecast is for rain, and that's going to make a big difference on the day for sure.
So what I'm hearing is sign up the Curly's pack for the weekend, and it's very important, especially when the weather's around, to sign up and get that late mail info 5-6 minutes before the race.
There's literally no other way to bet, particularly like I said, with that weather. But you get the bonus of getting to bet at the Gold Coast and Toowoomba as well.
It's always good getting the Toowoomba set after a long Saturday on the punt. So how we're playing that, Shane, for anyone who does want to bet early, it'd be Holyfield each way, but your suggestion is to hold off. We'll see the weather pattern of the day and sign up to Curly's product and get that late mail.
Yes, that's the only way to play it. If you're desperate for a bet early, Holyfield looks safest. As I said, again, it's got good statistics at the track, at the distance, and on slow going. Anything worse than that was a query, but if I had to highlight one, that horse looks the one.
So if it doesn't rain and Holyfield gets the setup, do we see it shortening?
Well, I thought it would start a lot shorter last start when we were on it for the service as well, and it sort of hovered around that price basically all day. And I thought somewhere around that sort of $5.50, $6 mark would be sort of where it lands, depending on what happens if it doesn't get too wet.
Well, there it is from Shane, just previewing the one from the sunny coast. But as he said, with a bit of weather around, we're sort of keeping the powder dry until Saturday, and pull the trigger late if anything lines up with the track weather pattern. All right, so we'll do a bit of a recap of our bets. We'll circle back to Lindsay, just a bit of a recap, mate, and a staking plan from the 3 races that you're getting involved in on Saturday.
Yeah, all right. So Flemington Race 2, Chesterton and Thrombone hardest to beat, but I'm happy to have something on number 10 Discerning and number 11 Without Envy, just small win plays. Without Envy, trialled up, jumped out well behind Zoo Sensation, who has some good form. Zoo Sensation's, I think, $6.50, $7. Without Envy, you get $11 out there. I think that's a good price. And Discerning comes through that synthetic form. So we can back that. Probably half unit the win or something like that. Then we go to race 4, the mile 2-year-old race. I think we can back 1x3, 1x4 Trans Am. I'll get a cushy run in behind. Had a mile run, should be rock hard fit. I think it's at a backable price. And then Fairy Spirit, also 1x3 for Sads and Matty Cartwright. Then we'll head to race 7. We'll have something in the nose on Serious Suspect. Gets an ideal setup here, and I think he can win.
Pretty keen, Serious Suspect by the sound of things.
It just gets an ideal setup here, and I think some of them either aren't good enough and I want to see it first, or Saber 2XL, too much weight to carry there. It's a class horse, but it's a bit in the wilderness, so that'd be Serious Suspect.
Nice.
Could chop Ocean Beyond on the day.
For those thrill seekers that like to back Linda at Flemington, like myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to chime in. Thanks, Lindsay. A couple at a big price there. So, I only need to get one of those home, and then we're going to turn a profit with Lindsay's set there on Saturday. Punters, I'm going to chime in with the best bet this week. Flemington Race 3, number 8, Liberated Girl. Moody with Meech. Lindsay's highlighted the terrible stats of Linda at Flemington. So I'm a bit of a thrill seeker here, but just think lightly raced, plenty of upside. I think Bella Rogue, the one to beat, will be sitting up there on the speed. So gets all the favours there, but marked Liberated Girl a hell of a lot shorter than that. So I'm happy to have a bit of a play at the price.
And I think you'll be happy to hear Bella Rogue is also nominated in Sydney, so it could go there, and you might not have to go head to head there. So
perfect, even better. No, happy to have a bit of a go at the price there. So my best punters there: Flemington Race 3, number 8, and Shane, yourself. We don't really have one, but I think we mentioned it earlier. He's previewed the Glasshouse handicap. If you did want to have a bet early, guys, what was your bet there, Shane?
In the Glasshouse handicap Sunshine Coast Race 8, I thought 3 Holyfield is a sort of safe each way play. Does rise a little bit in weight, as I said, but we'll offset that with a nice map here. And if the rain does come, it can it handles a slow track, and we'll be able to weight races. In that first 4 or 5, it'll be able to get to the right part of the track in the straight before his rivals, and a very honest horse, and certainly looks a safe each way bet if you'd like to play early.
Perfect. So if you like to have a play, each way there. But as we did mention before, sign up the Shane's product. You'll get that late mail on a rain-affected track, but also get around the grounds with a set at Toowoomba while you're
It varies every week. Week to week, the Metropolitan card that I like on a Saturday more so than the provincials. This week it's the opposite. I'm keen on the provincial cards more so than the Metropolitan card. So plenty of betting to be had.
Nothing better than cheering one home that Shane sent out to the service at 7:30 on a Saturday night. We'll wrap up now.
Deep.
Yeah. We'll wrap up now, guys. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the bloodstock, we've got a few horses for sale. Atlantic Way with Gavin Bedgegood. He couldn't be going any better at the moment. So that's a nice little cheap one, 2.5% for 362. And if you're keen to get involved in one up there with at Curly and Lindsay's territory up in Queensland, we purchased one off the English sale yesterday that will be sent to Tony Gollan, who's keen to get it into work and pick up some of those riches over this winter carnival. As always, guys, like, subscribe, click the button on the show and get around us. Until next week, good luck.